OSPF DR and BDR election part 2. So this is going to be like the part 2 because I already made a video about um, DR and BDR election, and in that video I only have a uh, I think what just one segment. So in this video, yeah, it was just one segment. So in this video, I have two segments. So this one is segment R1 and R2. This network here is a segment, and R2 and R3 is a segment as well. And I have this here because you don't have to have a switch in between routers. For example, R4 and R5 to have that to have DR and BDR election. So DR and BDR election is also happening when you have this kind of network. But yeah, I will show you the output of the this command later, and we can verify it here. All right, so let me just read uh, this part here because I want to also get a refresher. So DR and BDR election is done via Hello protocol. Hello packets are exchanged via IP multicast packets on each segment. The router with the highest OSPF priority on a segment will become the DR for that segment. The same process is repeated for the BDR. In case of a tie, the router with the highest router ID will win. The default for the interface OSPF priority is 1. Remember that DR and BDR concepts are per multi-access segment, so not actually per area. Setting the OSPF priority on an interface is done using the IP OSPF priority value interface command. A priority value of 0 indicates an interface which is not to be elected as DR or BDR. The state of the interface with priority 0 will be DROTHER. So I have already configured the routers. So we have R1, R2, and R3 in area 0. And like I said earlier, R1 and R2 are in this segment, and R2 and R3 are in this segment, one segment as well. And this one is here is actually a segment as well. So let's verify which router is DR and which router is BDR. So let me actually use this command here. So I'm going to R1 and just enter this command. Okay, so we see that, let me just show you the config. The topology while we are looking at the config. Let me see if I can actually move it here. Yeah. So let me move it more on the left, to the left. And make this a little bit smaller. Okay, so we see that R2 is the DR. Yeah, R2 is the DR, and R3 is the DR, and R1 is the BDR. So in this segment, R2 is the DR, which actually makes sense because R2 um, has the higher router ID. And we can verify that by doing a show IP protocols. And we will see that this is R2. This is the router ID of R2. And we see here from this output that it is the DR. And on R2, we see that R3 is the DR, which makes sense because R3 has the highest router ID in this segment. And R1 is, yeah, R1 is actually a BDR because there's only two routers here. R2 is the DR and R1 is the BDR. And going to R3, so here R2 is the BDR because R3 is the DR, as we saw here. This is R2. All right, so yeah, like I said earlier, it doesn't have to, DR and BDR election is happens per segment, as what we saw as well here. DR and BDR concepts are per multi-access segment. So when you see a switch that and routers, OSPF routers are connected to it, that would be a multi-access segment. But like I said, even if there's no switch, like for this here, this topology below, there's also a BDR and DR and BDR election happening. So we can verify that. Let me just type it by doing this command. Yeah. So we see that R5 is the DR, which makes sense because R5 has the higher priority, router ID, and R4 is the BDR. So I want to check something here actually because I think there is, and I just thought about this now. Let's see if yeah, broadcast, network type is broadcast. So that's Ethernet. And let's check on the other side. So broadcast. I think this would be the same on R1 as well. Broadcast, yeah, same. How about R2? Oops. What was the, yeah, OSPF. Let me add this as well to our verification commands. So OSPF interface. Yeah, broadcast, broadcast. So we are also verifying the network type. Oops, not just the BDR and DR election. Yeah, network type is broadcast as well. All right, so that's how you can verify that DR and BDR concepts are per multi-access segment or just segment. And also, you can also verify that that's how you can verify that even if the router are connected uh, to each other and there's no switch between, that's also a broadcast network, and BDR is also happening. All right, that's all I want to talk about in this video. Thanks for watching and I'll see you on the next one.